Join me for a trip down the crooked stairs of memory and madness. You ever look back at your childhood and think, did that really happen? Tonight's story is about 3 inseparable friends who stumble upon a place that remembers more than they do. So grab your flashlights, pack your walkie-talkies, and whatever you do, don't open the cellar door.
In a quiet cul-de-sac tucked beneath low power lines and cracked sidewalks, Emma, Cody, and Marcus were inseparable. Their friendship was a stitched patchwork of walkie-talkie static, riding bikes, and daring dares. It was the kind of suburb that got stuck in time. Sidewalks cracked with age, mailboxes dented from too many bike collisions, and an air that smelled like rust and rain in the summer. Emma was the clever one, always scribbling maps or booby traps in her spiral notebook. Cody had a mouth full of wisecracks and a backpack full of comics. Marcus was the brave one, stoic but kind, born with bruised knees and a slingshot in his back pocket. They were the kind of trio that only childhood makes possible, a little reckless and convinced the next big adventure was always just one walkie buzz away. To them, their street was the entire world, and the old abandoned house at the end of Marrow Lane, that was their castle. Nobody remembers when it was built or why it was empty. The house had appeared like a glitch in the neighborhood. They swore it hadn't been there the week before, but somehow it looked like it had always been there. The floors creaked with secrets. It was grayed by time and graffiti. The wallpaper peeled like old skin, and a musky scent of mildew mixed with chalky drywall. To the kids, it was perfect. The clubhouse of all clubhouses. The upstairs was their fortress. Posters on the walls, an old futon for a couch, codes in chalk, a mason jar of change for supply missions. They never questioned how no one else seemed to notice it. It was theirs. But in all the time they spent there, they never noticed the cellar door before. Not once, not until the dreams started. It was Emma who had it first. She told them the next day, sitting cross-legged at their clubhouse with a flashlight under her chin. So I found the cellar door outside the club. I don't remember it, do you guys? Anyways, I went inside, and before I knew it, I was crawling through a tunnel made of couch cushions. But there were toys everywhere. Mine, yours, ones I forgot. And it all smelled like attic dust and action figures. There were stuffed animals without eyes, old report cards, crooked family photos. It was so weird. It led to more hallways and ongoing passages. A maze made of, like, piled mattresses, old furniture, a blanket fort with no end, all lit by flickering old TVs with just static, casting long, creepy shadows. Cody dropped his cherry slushie. Wait, there were TVs? Static everywhere? And like eyes watching you? Marcus froze. You too? Their faces turned white. They'd had the same dream. A claustrophobic collage of forgotten childhoods. And always something watching. Always just out of sight. Different paths, same place. A maze made of forgotten things, pulsing with cold dread. At that moment they knew. The dream wanted them to find it. Emma pulled out a map she'd started sketching in her sleep. I think it's under the clubhouse. The next day, they rode straight back to the clubhouse, and this time, they came prepared. Walkies, flashlights, extra batteries, trail mix, and jerky. Cody even brought a super soaker, just in case. They chained the cellar door, metal groaning like a wounded animal. Last one down's a rotten egg, Cody muttered, voice cracking to hide his fear as they descended into the darkness. Their flashlights flickered as they stepped inside. A single staircase led down into the dark. The air thickened. The musty scent deepened, earthy and electric. The basement should have ended with concrete and cobwebs. Instead, it twisted inward, just like the dream. Blanket tunnels snaked in every direction, hung like cave mouths. Books stacked into walls. Dolls' heads peeking out from cracked boxes. Shelves stacked with old VHS tapes, some labeled with their names. Toys from their past. Photos, shoes, school papers. Not just theirs, others too. Faces they didn't recognize, frozen in picture frames like they'd been watching from the beginning. The cellar was colder than it should have been. smelled like mold and crayons. Their flashlight beams jittered off toy blocks, cassette tapes, a cracked Etch-a-Sketch. All of it looked familiar. "This is our stuff," Emma whispered. "From forever ago." It wasn't just eerie. It was alive. It remembered them. "But some of it's not," Marcus said, lifting a drawing of a family he didn't recognize. The names were wrong. The faces were blurred. Cody found a yearbook from what looked like the 60s. Each turn grew more surreal. "Guys," Emma whispered, stopping, "that's my old teddy bear." Sure enough, Mr. Flops, one eye missing. She'd lost him when she was 5. More than that, Marcus found his old Retronaut action figure, the one his dad had thrown out. Cody found a lunchbox he'd lost in 2nd grade after his mother left. They kept going. Crawling, squeezing through memory-laden caverns. Everything lit by old televisions that buzzed but made no sound. Some were still tuned to Saturday morning cartoons. Others flickered with empty static. All along, while something shuffled behind the walls, and the walkies crackled with voices that weren't theirs. They wandered for hours, or what felt like hours. Sometimes the maze shifted behind them. New passages appeared, familiar ones vanished. All the while, something was watching. They never saw it directly, but they felt it. A coldness that lingered just past the TV light. An intake of breath that never quite exhaled. In the deepest part of the maze, they reached a room made of mirrors, twisted and foggy. The reflections weren't right. They looked older, tired, scared. Emma swore her reflection mouthed, "Wake up," as she passed. And in one corner, a door, not wooden or painted. This was something else. Black, seamless. When Cody reached for the handle, a low hum vibrated through the floor. The walkie-talkie squawked with static, and then a voice none of them recognized.
"You're not supposed to be here yet."
The lights blew. All 3 screamed, and when they opened their eyes, they were back in their clubhouse, as if nothing had happened. They ran outside. The cellar door was gone. They looked at each other in utter confusion and didn't talk about it again. Not for 25 years. Time moved on, sort of. Years passed. Life pulled them apart. They drifted. Jobs, families, losses, moves. But something called them back. Emma moved to the city and became a social worker. Divorced, 1 kid. Cody, always the loudest, quieted down. Joined the army. Got discharged with a limp and medals he didn't hang up. Then disappeared for a while. Later, got married. Marcus spent some time traveling, content with the simple things, and eventually made his way home. Real estate now. Dull, safe, lonely, never married. Then came the reunion. Unfortunately, they reconnected at Cody's wife's funeral, though a good bit of that time they found themselves orbiting the same unspoken thing. They met up for beers after, awkward at first. But memories are stubborn things. Laughter cracked through the years like warm static, but Emma finally said it. "The cellar. You remember, right?" Silence. Then nods. Marcus whipped out his phone and found the house again, still abandoned, still unnoticed by the world. And being a realtor, had the code to the lock. Cody grinned nervously. One last adventure? They all met back at their old clubhouse, pulling into that cracked driveway in silence. The house hadn't aged, not really, but something felt paused. They stepped inside. Flashbacks hit instantly. Laughter echoing off the walls, bike grease on the floorboards, Emma's painted map of the neighborhood still on the wall. The main floor was mostly how they left it, dusty, but still theirs. But it was the backyard that stopped them cold. The cellar door was there, waiting. They looked at each other, grown bodies, adult lives, but the same question behind every set of eyes. Did we ever really leave? They descended. This time, the maze welcomed them. Nothing had changed, or maybe everything had. The clutter pulsed with memory. But the memories were no longer just theirs. New clutter lined the walls, framed graduation photos of strangers, moldy coloring books, broken urns, and VHS tapes labeled with dates from the future. In one hallway, Emma saw her parents, alive, laughing, but they didn't see her. In another, Marcus watched himself graduate from art school. Cody walked past a school play where he was a tree. Moments they never lived. None of this happened, Marcus said. Or maybe, Emma whispered, it did, just not to us. Emma touched a pile of old toys and whispered, I don't remember this being mine. And then came the voice. It wasn't a voice exactly, more like a presence, a knowing, a cold, distant thing that filled the space like fog.
You've come home.
Who said that? Emma asked. Silence. The televisions flared. One showed Emma holding her second-born. Another, Marcus's wedding. Cody was a CEO living in New York. Wait, these things never happened, Cody said. Did they? What if we never left? Marcus said. What if we'd been here this whole time? They tried to leave, but the passages twisted, led them in circles. The TV started whispering their own thoughts back to them. Emma remembered something she'd forgotten. A door, far in the back, past the things that weren't hers, past the memories that didn't feel real. The mirror room, the black door. They found their way to the room again. This time the reflections didn't lag. They stared back in horror, wrinkled, aged, eyes hollow. The black door opened. Inside was a figure, tall, cobbled from wires and doll parts, draped in toys and tattered memories. Its face a cracked CRT screen, flickering through their memories.
The illusion is fragile. You've woken too much.
What are we? Cody asked.
Energy, hope, nostalgia, that's what I feed on. The belief in better days. You kept me full for years.
You kept us trapped, Emma said.
No,
the figure replied.
You wanted this. You feared growing up. You ran from pain. I offered peace. You gave consent.
The world rippled. Their memories cracked. Emma remembered childbirth. Marcus remembered divorce. Cody remembered dying in a hospital bed. None of it was real. The maze was a cage of comfort, a simulation fed by longing. But now they were awake. You can't trap us anymore, Emma said. The gatekeeper tilted its head.
Perhaps, but the longer you stay, the more you forget again.
Already, Cody was clutching his old walkie, laughing like he was 12. Marcus looked at the walls with wonder. Rows of stasis pods, 3 of them occupied. Inside, sleeping, Emma, Cody, Marcus. They were still kids. No mistaking it. Same clothes, same backpacks. They'd been here all along. The lives they'd lived, families, jobs, failures, dreams. A simulation designed to keep them occupied, to harness them. The gatekeeper watches as they stare in stunned silence at the stasis pods. Their younger selves suspended, eyes closed, as if mid-laugh. The machines hum faintly. Tubes snaked into the walls. Monitors pulse in rhythm with long, faded heartbeats. The gatekeeper then stepped forward.
You're always the brightest,
it told Marcus.
You've lived beautiful lives,
it intoned.
Tragic, vivid, rich with energy. You fed the maze well.
Each of them powered a wing of the maze. Emotion fed the system. Joy, sorrow, regret. All that raw humanity burning like electricity. Cody staggered. That's impossible. I got married, Emma screamed. I had a kid. She turned to the others. Do you remember what it felt like to really be alive? We have to hold on to that. We have to remember the truth. The gatekeeper responded with static.
All simulations, carefully designed, so full of feeling, you never left.
Marcus just stared, and then he smiled. A small, sad thing for the first time in years. The life they remember, marriages, jobs, loss, joy. It was crafted from the residue of their own childhood dreams. The maze didn't just reflect memories. It fed on them, curated them, simulated entire futures using their innocence like fuel. Emma's knees buckled, her daughter, her laugh, the birthmark behind her ear she kissed every night. Was that just code in a corrupted program? Cody stares blankly at his hands. The ring on his finger flickers in and out like a poor rendering. I buried my wife, he whispers. I buried her. Marcus steps forward, eyes fixed on the pods, rage and heartbreak twisting his face. Let them go. You two lost everything, he says. But I didn't. I wasted it. They looked up at him. My real life sucked, he said, drifting from place to place, barely existing. Never felt like I mattered. But here, maybe I can protect something. Maybe I already did. Emma shook her head, tears welling. You can't. Cody, stunned, reached out. No, man. But Marcus was already walking towards the gatekeeper. Light from the televisions casting his shadow. Take me. Let them go. The gatekeeper bowed. A flicker of static crackles behind them. One of the TVs powers up, showing Marcus in his simulated life. Older. Laughing. I don't know if it was real, he says. But it felt real. Maybe that's enough. The gatekeeper speaks. Not in words, but as a low vibration that rattles their bones.
One stays. Two wake.
Marcus turns to them, smiling softly. I got the best run, he says. tag me out. Emma shakes her head. No, there has to be another way. But he's already moving, placing his hand over the sensor at the base of his own pod. A blinding pulse. The chamber hisses. The younger Marcus jolts, then stills. Cody grabs Emma's hand as the room trembles. The walls of clutter begin to collapse inward, folding like paper. The maze is unraveling. Emma saw her parents divorce, but remembered Marcus slipping her snacks when she forgot to eat. Cody saw the bullying, but remembered how Marcus taught him how to fight back. Marcus just remembered the clubhouse, the only time he ever felt safe. You remember what we used to say on the walkies? Marcus yells over the din. Emma nods, tears in her eyes. Never leave a man behind. Marcus grins. Guess I broke the rule. Then in a blink, he was gone, consumed by static. A wrenching sound echoes like a scream made of television snow. And just like that, they wake. Emma and Cody awoke on the floor of the old cellar, their younger selves again, coughing, screaming, drenched in sweat. The door behind them open, the television's dead. They climbed out, blinking in the late afternoon sun. Nobody spoke, not at first. Finally, Emma said, "We were never supposed to forget each other. He gave us another shot," she said. Cody nodded. "We don't waste it." They ran and never looked back. Years passed. Again. Emma and Cody, now grown, sit together on a curb outside the abandoned house. Now a burned-out husk, overtaken by ivy and years. They're older, the same age they were in the simulation, but it's not the same world. Their clothes are faded. A layer of dust coats their skin. It's like they were inserted back into time's bloodstream. Not gently, but with a jolt. Cody exhales. "You think it's really over?" Emma looks to the house, to the now broken cellar door. "I don't know," she says, "but I remember now. I remember you, and I'll never forget what Marcus did for us. And that has to mean something." They walked away slowly together, into a world that felt a little sharper, a little more fragile, as if the maze were still just beneath their feet, waiting. And somewhere, deep in a place that doesn't exist, static hums, and a little boy with gadgets in his backpack watches cartoons forever.
Well, well, well. That was a trip down memory lane. Looks like poor Marcus really potted out on his friends. Guess you could say he took early retirement. And Emma and Cody, they finally woke up. But now they're haunted by memories they never lived. Breaker! We've got a Class 5 maze manifestation at 213 Cellar Drive. Memory lapse in progress. Until next time, kiddies, keep your flashlights charged and your memories buried. You never know who's siphoning the signal.
Tales from the